Hi everybody.
My name is Omkar Pathak. I am the co-founder of a company called Stellify. I'm a principal enterprise architect.
Catherine Lewis, I'm a partner at PA.
So I'm very happy that I've got Catherine here who is an expert in artificial intelligence. Yes, and empowering teams to innovate, to experiment.
The space where AI can really make a difference in retail.
So Catherine Lewis, partner at PA. I am in their data science capability, and I've worked on various AI machine learning projects for the last 4 or 5 years. If anybody's looked me up on LinkedIn, you'll also find out I'm a musician, I'm a novelist, and I have 0 qualifications for being up here right now. My interest in AI is about, and this has been throughout my career, so it's about using technologies to deliver better outcomes for people. That could be improved care if it's an NHS client. It could be improved educational outcomes if it's a university client. It could be better, faster, cheaper if it's an airline or something like that. And I see AI as just yet another tool in the toolkit that could be used appropriately. From the work that I've been doing most recently, the thing that's sparked my doubt about some of these tools and technologies is around the fact that you have to work with data, and that data is collected from all manner of different systems, from people who are probably bored, filling in and being checkout assistants or whatever else, or very intensely accurate in the way that they collect their data. It also is interesting to me that in some of the sort of areas I work in, I'll talk about ambulances later, the data that's collected routinely is a reflection of our society. And so how do we make sure that when we're training algorithms, we're doing it in as unbiased a way and as an ethical way as possible? So that'll leave out we did. There you go.
My name is Ian Boyle. I'm a Red Hat employee, and I've spent probably the last 4 years than I care to remember in IT. Now starting to show on me. At the moment, I'm a technical pre-sales person, so I work in the pre-sales part of the team at Red Hat. And my focus area is retail, so I spend all my time working in the retail space, speaking with retailers. And I'm not talking about just the tech with them, I'm talking about how it can be made better, how to make our lives better, how can they deliver better value for customers. So my interest in AI is really about how can retailers deliver better outcomes for consumers and reduce the cost of what they deliver to consumers. The retailers have a wealth of knowledge about what you do, what you spend, where you spend it, or what you spend it on. They already know that. So AI isn't going to help them make better decisions on whether they can sell you a bit more of the same stuff, because they already know it. So AI doesn't add that value. But the place it really does add value is when they start using it within stores, because that's where they can start to make the service that every one of you gets in the store. They can make it better, and that's truly where I'm interested in how they can do that, what they can do to make it better. But that comes with a whole pile of ethical and legal complexity, because you can't just put cameras in stores and record people. So you've got the boundaries, and this is where I'm sort of get interested in AI, as to how retail can use AI to make it better for consumers, to give them a better experience, and then presumably they buy more without breaking the boundaries of what's allowed. Okay.
My name is Omkar Pathak. I'm a principal enterprise architect working at British Telecom. But my specialization has been, though I'm principal enterprise architect, I've got nothing to do with AI. So I'm very happy that I've got Catherine here, who is an expert in artificial intelligence. Having said that, my expertise has been in business architecture domain. So I spend most of my time around business capability modeling, business models, aligning outcomes to capabilities, to IT, to tech, and all the sort of things. So mainly working around strategy and outcomes. So that's what I do. Previous to that, I worked for a company called Konica Minolta, which is a Japanese company. I worked with them for 7 years. I was heading their enterprise architecture. I was heading their architecture and design practice within the Konica Minolta research and development space. So we were responsible for running quite a few programs. So there were programs and new products and services that are coming out of R&D, and each of us were responsible for running a program from an inception to making it operational. So there's a brilliant instant out there. That's me. What do I want out of this, right? So AI, I think it's beyond understand, it's here to stay. So there are no second thoughts about it. I think the key thing is the adoption. That's really, really important because there is so much of content about AI, there is so much of risk. So there is a traditional way of doing analytics. From traditional, we have moved to insights. From insights, we have moved to foresight. So there is a trajectory in which the whole analytics to advanced analytics have moved. Me coming from an end user organization for the last 10 years, I've always been an end user for the last 10 years, been in the end user sphere. It would be interesting to understand, given that where the end user organizations are, because what I've realized is the product companies and the technology companies are really at least 4 to 5 steps ahead of where the end users are. And the adoption rate of any of these new technologies is far slower than what we would like the companies to be at. So I would like to understand, so I know there are challenges in terms of the adoption. So it would be very, very good to understand, have a discussion about what the product company is saying, given that they have great understanding of the technology, and how can companies like us or the end user organizations are still running very slow and a bit behind, how they can get out of the bandwagon and get a sense of how to adopt these new technologies into their workspaces. So that's what I would like to look at. Is the user adoption. So my name is Tim Beatty. I am the co-founder of a company called Stellify. Let me tell you how we called ourselves Stellify. So I spent 20 years consulting, working for big consulting companies, PwC, IBM, Detica, BAE Systems, Deloitte. In 2017, I moved to Red Hat. I met Ian, and I became the global head of product for a part of Red Hat called Red Hat Open Innovation Labs. My passion since early 2000s has been in the space of agile. I stumbled upon some practices which were just music to my ears. I had delivered some big complex programs where it took years to deliver anything to production, and usually what was delivered was the wrong thing, and I was over budget and late. And then suddenly I found myself in a boutique consultancy, Detica, where the way of working was very collaborative. It used a lot of tools like continuous integration and test automation and infrastructure as code, which I thought this is just brilliant. This fixes a lot of the problems I've seen at my previous company. So over the years, I learned more about DevOps and design thinking and lean and agile and business agility. And I landed at Red Hat to set up this part called Open Innovation Labs, which is all around immersing customers into the Red Hat culture, which is open source, open organization, and really getting the best use out of technology, such as DevOps and agile. And I had 5 amazing years there. I was very lucky to get to write a book about DevOps culture during the pandemic. I had a lot of time on my hands, so with 3 colleagues I got to write a book, which is freely available. And then last year I made the big jump, and I had a chat with an old friend of mine who was at Google at the time, and we set up Stellify. So the word Stellify means turn into a star or place amongst the stars. And at the time, Bella, my co-founder, and I were relentlessly focused on measurable outcomes and connecting them One night, it's very clear night, I was looking up and I was thinking, these stars, they're joined, they're connected. You know, that star is connected, they're always relative to each other. And it made me think organizations are a little bit like constellations, or they should be, where your outcomes are connected. If you've got platform engineers, they've got measurable outcomes, they should be connected to engineering teams. And if the needle moves in this team, it's going to help the needle move there, and that's going to help the needle move on a business line. And this is how we should connect delivery and execution right up to the North Star, to the vision, to the mission, to the purpose. So we came across this word and we thought, this is great, because you want to be able to zoom in on the bright stars and understand what the energy is behind them. There are dead stars where outcomes are not being delivered. You want to understand why. So this fitted a lot with our ideas for a platform we wanted to build. So we looked up Stellify.com and it was available. A guy in Orange County in the States was selling it, contacted him, yep, $100,000 please. Didn't have $100,000. So we did what every startup did, and we invented the word. So we invented Stellify, F-T-E-L-L-A-F-A-I, you know, because everyone was doing that. In all honesty, we thought, I'm sure AI will fit into our company, our product at some point in the future. We didn't plan for it to happen anytime soon. But then when the world went AI mad last year, we thought, well, maybe we should check it out. Maybe we should run a few experiments, run a few spikes, just do some experimentation.
Is it a fear of missing out?
It was a little bit of FOMO, yeah, someone else might do it. So we just thought, let's spend a week and see what we can do. So why am I interested in AI? So for me, Agile and DevOps and you know, sounds techie. What it's all about, it's about collaboration. It's about getting business people talking to technical people talking to other technical people, business people talking to different business people talking to users, technical people talking to users. It's all about collaboration. I'm interested in what can facilitate conversations and what can make them even better. And I think about the best teams I've ever worked with in my career, and there's always been one or two people who just rally the troops. They get people talking, they throw ideas out on the table, they make suggestions, they just come up with stuff and get the energy going. I think AI can help do that. I think AI can just bring ideas and suggestions, and that's what we've been experimenting with things like practices, with things like outcomes, with things like connections. It's early days for us. We've built a platform where we've just got MVP out, but I'm excited by how AI can just help people do their jobs better, not replace their jobs, but help them do it better. So really looking forward to this conversation, and thank you very much for inviting me, Simplex.
I've always wondered this. It does feel like, you know, you've got this new thing and it's amazing and we all believe in it, and why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you use ChatGPT to book your, you know, to plan and book your holiday? It's obviously takes the cognitive effort out of your own thing. But when you get into a group of people who are worried that it might take their job away from them, worried it might de-skill them, and it might cost more than what's going on. You've got the cost of transition as well. There's a lot of fear and uncertainty and doubt about moving and adopting new technologies. And it was the same 20 years ago when we were talking about workflows. I don't think the technology itself is the problem. We all want to make our lives easier to do and so on. We want to benefit from this stuff. But in these big complex organizations that we work within, there's more at stake than the benefit of the technology. And I think that's probably why people struggle with adoption, as well as the risk of things not working when you try and use them, like this microphone.
Probably slightly more technical. I guess, as I said, a lot of end user organizations are still going to catch up with the technological changes. So for any of these analytical tools to work, you need a good base of data, right? You need good, authoritative, high quality, fundamentally strong data. And if you look at AI, it's not more horizontal. It's very use case driven, right? So if I want to apply AI or advanced analytics on sales forecasting, I need a good informative, authoritative data around sales. Similarly around productivity. Similarly around services. So it's not something that you can apply across. It's business unit and domain specific. So if you do not have good data, if you have crap, you're going to turn out crap. So that is the problem, because a lot of the organizations are still trying to get their data sorted, but they still want to have the technology to get into advanced analytics, and they have that classic issue and thought, how do I get to advanced analytics? How do I use advanced analytics? But then I don't have the right data in place to actually apply. And that's where, so I think there's a huge opportunity for us to get the data sorted in a lot of these organizations before even adopting and getting onto the advanced analytics phase. And that's why they're still working on the traditional AI. Like what has happened in the past, because the insights, they are nowhere close to the insights of the foresight as yet. That's my view.
So in terms of adoption, there's a couple of things. When you try and adopt AI, you've got to have a really clear objective of what you want to achieve. You've got to have decided up front what it is you want to do, what's the points, what's the purpose, what are you going to deliver with it. And too many organizations just go, well, let's do a bit of a science experiment, or we'll have a play and see what happens. That'll fail. Almost certainly it's going to fail. So you've got to have something clearly set in advance of what you want to do and what you want to achieve. The next thing is you need some sort of executive buy-in. If you don't get anything from the senior management down, then again you'd be running around in the dungeon of the building playing with a bit of second-hand kit that somebody's lent you, and playing with a bit of data that they reluctantly give you out of the data center because they feel kind to you. So you always be struggling to do anything because nobody's going to help you. So you do have the buy-in from the executives and the push down within the business. And then the two final things I think about is education within the company. You can't just get a grad and say, you're a data science grad, here's some stuff, go and do it. It won't work, and because everybody else will look at it with a bit of mystery and go, well, what's he doing? And how's that going to work? And they all throw objections in the way, and never goes anywhere. So everybody in the layers of the management has to be educated as to what they're trying to do and reinforce the message about not taking jobs away. I mean, it's not there to take the job away of somebody else, it's to make their lives a bit better. So education of the staff all the way through the levels is key. And the final thing I think about is have a sensible pilot type exercise that starts small, has some well-defined parameters. It starts small, it builds, and it is clearly defined where it's going to go. The MVP type approach that Tim will classically do with his agile approaches. Because without that, you break off this massive chunk, and you're trying to eat the elephants, in effect. This is the phrase, aren't you? It just doesn't work. So for me, those are some of the key things you need to do within the business just to also get you started. And if you don't, you're going to fail.
Yeah, I mean, a big yes to everything Ian said there. I mean, I think the successful organizations will be those that go into a culture of experimentation and innovation. And absolutely, start with why? Yeah, why are we investing time? Why are we investing people? Why are we investing energy? So having a well-crafted and understood and aligned objective makes a lot of sense. I'd also say then, how are we going to measure progress? Design well-crafted experiments that we can see, well, this is a measure of the now, the status quo, the way before. We want to run an experiment to see whether it shifts the needle in one way or the other, and let's learn from it. So building measurements and learning into the system of work, I think it becomes key to adoption. So I think, yes, and empowering teams to innovate, to experiment, to try new things out is a great thing to do. And organizations do things like hack days or
a weekend to just try some new stuff out, but crucially being able to measure the benefit and then connect. What does this mean?
So Deepak, what does your table think?
Yeah, so we had a kind of discussion around this, and I would also say a perspective of two types of flavor. One from a service provider angle, because I used to work in Wipro in the past, now Infosys. So in Infosys, we have a platform, AI very well-built platform, it's called robust. So with 12,000 active use cases running, 20,000 models at the back.
I think it one start very quick.
Why they give this perspective is because when I say 12,000 use cases running, means I'm not saying it is just built. It is used in customer places at different domains. It's not one area, multiple areas. It's been used now. Now, in this case, because it's a service provider IP, so the accountability lies with the service provider. Because of your case, right? So I am selling my IP to any customer, so I have to be responsible whether it's a security, whether it's my data model, whether what I'm doing with the data, and whatever I want to do, it is all my or service provider's responsibility here. But yes, we do work in other places also, wherein what is happening in some of the customers, they don't want to get a vendor IP locked in. So they will select the product, and they want an assigned partner to implement that solution. Now, in that case, is the business and the customer who is the owner, or at least the accountable person at the end, because the service provider who is implementing the solution is nowhere responsible. What happens with that product? How they are storing the data? Say, for example, someone says use Amazon or AI. So yes, anyone can go and implement that, but at the end of the data, it is stored in AWS somewhere. So the accountability goes to the provider who is holding that data. Now, challenges, yes, in the banking, there is a significant challenge. So, and we struggle to implement full-fledged AI in most of the areas in a financial, any financial institute. But yes, where it works, like a typical case, I will say probably one or two ways. So there was an insurance company who wants to upgrade all their old legacy software and the way the codes were written into Kafka. And there were almost 5,000 applications. So the initial estimate was 7 to 8 months to do that activity. Then they asked, what can you do through your AI platform? So we got the AI platform in. Within 7 days, 5,000 were converted in Kafka, or using those data models. 90%, close to 90% accuracy. Obviously 10% has to be picked, but it was all lower environment. Now comes the second part where it says that the risk management. Yes, we have to fill in a lot of forms, like what security controls you have in place, how you are controlling the authentication, where is the data safe, what you are doing with the data. So all those, like I think it was almost 40 to 50 different documents we had to fill in, just to ensure that they can reply to the regulator if at any point of time what you are doing with the data. I think that is very important perspective, because what we have seen is ChatGPT, like open source. No one knows what happens with the data. Anyone can have an access to that data, what you're putting in there. So that need to change, and the way the companies are looking at it is like any service for tomorrow. Simplex can come, build a platform, go to a customer saying, I'm my platform, I'm the owner, I'm accountable, the data is here, and all of these things. And I think in that way we can handle bigger things. But these are two different things. How if the company owns the data, because company decides on a product, and wherein any service provider is being their own IP.
Right, so we have the question, the promise of AI saving the planet. In what ways AI can be used to address climate change, global warming, and also environmental issues. The first one, one of the answers we had was really whether AI could be used to predict trends in future changes to the environment. We see a lot of natural disasters around the world. A lot of fires, outbursts, and we have data already to actually look at some of the weather conditions of what's going to happen. Are we being actually proactive enough of actually trying to get to those disasters before they actually occur, and provide the right resources around those. The other one we had was around minimising transportation through collective travelling. So that's kind of really around, obviously sourcing things locally rather than, travelling to other destinations, making sure that, the products that might have to come from abroad and that can be grown locally or sourced locally rather than importing, those goods. So really about product substitution. This other one was one I came up with actually, and it's you made a point of this about the amount of data being used to create some of the AI algorithms. I actually watched a program actually that said that there's other ways you can actually store data, and there is a futuristic view, which is happening now at the moment actually, where they're experimenting with DNA plants to actually store the data within natural resources rather than using hardware power resources. So it's really, we could save the planet by using other resources other than what we currently use today by natural resources. And the other one, I wasn't kind of particular on this because obviously you can't write this down, but it was kind of around minimising the actual food wastage around the world by using data and analytics and looking to provide some of that food to some of the food charities and make better use for it. I mean, we currently have, some of that today. I think that will be adopted, in most households when you look at some of these fridges where you can actually gather some of that data today. But I think that would just expand over time, and maybe there could be a collective resource of that data to understand, which geographies are using more waste than others, So that's all we had on this table actually for the forward.
What are the things? I was asking a question to my eldest, so the year 6, 11 plus and all those, and like it's probably out of the way. We were tested, and then I asked them the question, and so they huddled around, and they came up with a very nice tagline. It says, "When it comes to the land, don't be useless. Use less." I think that's what we need to learn. Yeah, and I play with it and arc it. Yeah. Okay. We're working on the prompt, right? Sorry, my senior point. Oh yeah. We took the mic from you. Yeah.
And not exactly that. But like everyone's contributions, I think a couple of weeks back I was talking to my daughter. So we had the recycling at home, so everyone currently we have different bins for different purpose. Sometimes my wife or my mother-in-law, they get confused whether it is a wet dry. So my daughter was saying that why can't you build some app which says that if somebody is carrying that item, it will give a purpose whether it is a dry or wet item or which bin you should go into. So that's how the current generation that it came out. That's one of the use case where you can bin for a just that contributions from things happening. They can use this as and use their own.
I was going to go through with the promise of AI. So there's a lot of promise around the environmental impacts. And in this table there was one of the most promising use cases for AI, and can be used as a force for good. So
Okay. Yeah, so we were asked what are the most promising use cases for AI, and there was kind of a binary question really, which is, can AI be used as a force for good? So we discussed the use case, and I think there will be some repetition here, but what we tried to do was raise out to where AI can have the greatest impact or societal or deliver the best societal outcome. And so we covered transport. We think that self-driving cars or better automated kind of multi-person travel modes can be safer for our society, but also have significant environmental benefits. We also covered agri-tech and looked the way that you can monitor your crops and reduce the amount of you put or treat your crops at the right time with the right things, such as to improve yields and therefore that guarantee better food supply to the world. But ones which perhaps haven't been mentioned are first of all healthcare. So thinking a particular problem that we have in the UK with long waiting list times and delayed appointments. So you can look at tactical ways to improve scheduling and look the way to use GP time. But perhaps a more revolutionary way to look at it would be, say, how could you use DNA analysis and stranding and genomics to understand those who are prone to cancer and to identify those who already have early stage cancer. And so you reduce pressure on the NHS through prevention and not cure. Another good example, I think, was around improving our physical and cyber security environment, which clearly is already an industry that is constant burgeoning. But we covered a little bit of that in the panel session around retail as well. But essentially, we feel that AI can help to reduce risk in crime rates and certainly safer and happier society. And then lastly, there's the just fundamental and apps impact on businesses, whether that be to increase sales or reduce costs, improve productivity, improve the retention, all of those things lead to competitive advantage and hopefully prosperity for your company or your societies. And so, of course, are well worth exploring. But I think, my reflection on this is that, actually, AI is not the silver bullet from that. It's a combination of all the new modern technologies which we put together to deliver solutions for enterprises and government organizations, which could include AI tools, it could include IoT parts of the software-defined networking, cloud, in robotic process automation. All of those things are just building blocks for a solution, and I think it's our duty as tech experts and suppliers to help our customers figure out what the promise of AI is and how that can be relevant to them. And so coming back to the question, can AI be used as a force for good? Well, whenever you're faced with the paradigm shift, which we think AI is, then of course that means change, and most people fear change and behave in a certain way when they're confronted with it. And I think that when you consider all of those credible societal benefits that you can globally use for a better world, then of course AI can be used as a force for good. It's about understanding how we can reduce risks, reduce the barriers for entry, and also identifying the things that we need as a global society to increase that adoption and reap the benefit.
Thank you very much. That was straight out. I mean, is that a good thing, or do you want to look at what you're doing? In the polite way, if you do what you've always done, you get always got. And so we wanted to sort of say, make sure people are, you're stopping and actually looking at how AI can actually help that. Don't add complexity, don't add cost to it as well, because again, in the rush to get there, you can sort of get carried away. I think a lot of it also, business sense is around, making sure we understand what we're trying to achieve. We've heard this a lot, I think, in terms of what's our objectives, what's the value we're trying to get out of this, the comprehension of what AI can bring. And I think we came to the conclusion that, again, just for clarity, this is probably not a big bang type of approach to, how you might want to adopt something. Pick something relatively small, we're talking about, sort of trials and looking in certain areas. And we also recognised that there is a lot of data out there in terms of to drive AI, and do we understand what that data is? Is there too much out there at the moment? How do we actually filter that to the benefit of what we're trying to achieve? Those sorts of controls, those sorts of governances are not there at the moment, and I think that's again something that needs to be worked on, and again something we've talked about.
When you look at in terms of business, and we've talked about how can we integrate this into business as usual, obviously businesses are there for a purpose where we need to sort of really think about that in terms of engaging our customers. So, we're doing this for a purpose and actually giving an understanding what our customers require out of this, how they will benefit, how we can empower people. There are examples of where, that the sort of the AI technology through applications and things is actually coming down to us as users. And maybe, we're starting to use that data for our own benefits. We were just actually talking about smartwatches and all the data that comes through there and how you can link that information to what might happen and what statistically and actually does sort of result from data that you collect. But the other thing that came out was when we're looking at integrating this into BAU, we also looked at, and again, something that's been picked up on other tables, where are you going in terms of future-proofing what you're doing, and the legal framework sort of sense of where. So where are the responsibilities? Where are the accountabilities to outputs and things like that? So, we're already seeing, we see in daily cases now, a lot of cases of with organisations that have tried things in the past, and now we know that might not be the right thing to do. And, is that ethically the right, sort of output, and people are being progressed? We will, and probably, may well have the same challenge in the future with AI being applied early without understanding the consequences of that, and sort of how people will perceive that in the future. So, how can we speed it up? That is if I had full answer, that'd be great. But I think, the sort of awareness and sort of understanding of everything you're trying to do is really important in terms of taking those first steps forward. So hopefully that gives some sort of context to the sort of discussion we had on our table. So for there we go.
That's where he started SimpleXConnect. Since then, believe me, in our third face-to-face conversation, the amount of knowledge which we have gained is tremendous. It actually solidifies, it gives us some chances. Going back to Raj's point, intelligent automation is actually what we are offering on our website every. So rather than the AI part over there. And going back to Tim's point, we had our eye on the North Star. We couldn't get Stellify, so we made partners. So that's what we did this way. But we can't bring away partnering with it. 2021, when we started back as a face-to-face SimpleXConnect, a digital workplace was the topic we picked up, which again, given we were coming out of pandemic, was the topic which was so relevant over there. Today, AI, I think the amount of conversations, inputs which we have received, I think it's quite tremendous. A few days ago, I was just reading about something over there and said, why are we worried about AI? I think we've talked about this topic or not, but I'm just thought of someone is over there to say, I asked the question to this computer and say, is there God? The computer said, yes, there is now, and he fused up now. So eventually, I'm sure we will make sure that fuse lies with us, so we don't fuse that plug. And I'll hand it over for them. Thank you again so much, everyone. And we're looking forward to next 2024. And when we meet again next year, we will be celebrating our 10th year. So I'm sure there could be some gifts or AI coming in the way. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you once again, everyone, one and all. We are talking about artificial intelligence, and we were also thankful for coming here and be with us really. All just say everybody entered the time just flies right for and of 10 years. It's amazing. And I see your tape there, maybe you came on or something about Simplex was born 10 years ago, that is going to be 10 years next year. So we are looking forward to next year to celebrate our 10 years, and all of you, right, sort of right behind the growth and success of Simplex. And as 2%
specifically I want to name today Derek and Paul, great mentors, so far for the journey of Simplex. And everybody, all of you, right, you are contributing to the success of Simplex, and we look forward to the same support for us going forward. Thank you all, and look forward to many years to come. Thank you.
Great event. I really enjoyed it.
Fabulous event. We really enjoyed
This event has been amazing.
the topic of artificial intelligence. We know that everybody's talking about it now. So we covered a lot of different areas of artificial intelligence. So it's good to learn more about it. It's good to ask the questions. And we had a great panel of specialists talking about AI.
Excellent to you, but most of all, excellent discussion where you got a really qualified panel. It's not like one person speaking and others are listening. This is quite a collaborative, thought-provoking ideas people have been sharing with us. So it's a bit to learn from the great minds. I really enjoyed it.
It's a great venue. I'm not a Chelsea fan, but actually it was amazing to come and have a tour around the stadium and to get near the grass, get near the pitch. It was actually amazing. And the food was brilliant as well, surprisingly. The food, obviously the drink was good. Yeah, really great night.
The guardrails about it, how we see AI evolving, and shaping up the future of IT and the world generics. So absolutely wonderful.
The venue Stamford Bridge, very historic and prestigious Premier League ground. Great tour, learned a lot about the club. And I think it just adds a little extra to the event.
It is a nice place. It's very comfortable. It also has a history. And as we were told in the tour, it goes more than 100 years. And I hope SimpleXConnect can continue for 100 years.
Event was fantastic. To be honest, I was thinking it's quite a monolithic presentation. It was very, very interactive, and I enjoyed. And the topic, it dusted our knobs of AI, and I really enjoyed it. It was very insightful.
A venue, this is amazing. I've been to this area so many times, but never had an opportunity to come inside. So this is a brilliant kind of a mix with the getting to know the history and about the football, as well as giving us an opportunity to actually see the stadium so close up. So it was brilliant. Thanks to Deb and Mohit for organizing this. And for the future, I think you guys are so connected. So you very rightly named it as a SimpleXConnect, because this is what it did. And I just wish you all the best and continue to connecting people in the similar way what we have been doing. Probably have another exciting venue next time.
And I feel I'm privileged to have this attended for the first year, and I've heard that we are going to celebrate 10 years in Simplex. I hope I join all the other events which are coming in. All the best to Simplex.
The events are actually really good. I think the people that have been invited, all experts and really insightful in terms of the discussion. We've had a really good evening. And the event, actually, the location here has been excellent.
The drink was nice, and I liked the status, so it was brilliant. And that's good. Thank you.
Really, really great event. Really well organized.
Very broad and very detailed the discussions on AI, which was it's good to learn from different people who have come from different backgrounds and different industries.
Very good event, and especially I would be able to connect with my old colleagues, Mohit and Debashish. They were my old colleague as well. So it was a very good event.
Very interesting topic of AI, which is the hot topic which is in the world. And I gathered a lot of AI information from various industry leaders from the market who have shared their experiences.
Very good food selection, etc. So overall, very nice, good.